Thank you, Chairman Keller, Chairman Freeman, Chairman O'Neill, for convening this joint hearing on this important and necessary legislation to allow the City of Harrisburg to exit Act 47 and leave with it the pejorative distress status. But make no mistake about it, my legislation is aimed at protecting taxpayers, the taxpayers of the City of Harrisburg and the taxpayers of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I was born in the City of Harrisburg 50 years ago, a little more than 50 years ago, and as a child, I spent my Saturdays at the YMCA on Front Street and my Sundays at Market Square Presbyterian Church. And I also sat in my father's car as he drove around the city selling houses. Later, my father was instrumental in starting an organization called Prohibit, which was part of the development of the Harrisburg Hilton and Market Square. My family understood that the city is the heart of this region, and for a body to be healthy, the heart needs to be healthy too. And after I graduated from college, I returned to my hometown where I started selling real estate. Later, I was one of 5 founders of the Harrisburg Young Professionals, an organization that started 20 years ago in efforts to revitalize the city. I was involved in the birth of Restaurant Row on 2nd Street as a real estate broker, appraiser, developer, investor, cheerleader, and patron. And I helped hundreds of people buy homes and invest in the City of Harrisburg. I even had a hand in bringing professional baseball back to Harrisburg when I helped convince my UMass college professor and academic advisor Jerry Millor to bring the Senators to City Island from New England. And since 2006, I've been part of the team ownership, which has been successful on and off the field. The Harrisburg Senators are a vital part of this community. As a state representative and chairman of the subcommittee in urban affairs on third-class cities, I've been watching with concern about the lack of private investment in the city. But I'm not surprised. Why would investors take a risk on a distressed city? Would you eat in a distressed restaurant? Would you fly on a distressed airplane? I know investors and what they want. They want certainty, and they want to mitigate risk. My legislation, House Bill 2557, would also prohibit a commuter tax, which is an additional income tax on the 45,000 plus non-residents who come into the city every day. This tax would crush private investment in the city. I've talked to some of the largest private employers in the city, and they will exit the city, leaving government, federal, state, and county, as the sole employers left in the city. We need not look any further than our neighbors to the west in Michigan to see the potential side effects of a commuter tax. Detroit was once a bustling center of commerce, marble office buildings, banks, automotive, and other industrial plants. It was called the Paris of the West, but today it is now one of the most dangerous cities in America. Mayor Jerome Cavanaugh enacted a commuter tax in the 1960s with his Model Cities program, with an additional income tax on residents, which promised to stimulate the economy of Detroit. Instead, by 1966, more than 22,000 middle and upper income residents moved to the surrounding suburbs. Businesses and industries left the city in droves and never returned, creating the shell of a city we once knew. Cities in Pennsylvania that have a commuter tax include Philadelphia, Scranton, and Reading. Each one of these municipalities have seen better economic days. Let's not repeat the same mistakes in our state capital. Harrisburg is a special city. Harrisburg has historical significance. It played a critical role in American history during the westward migration, the Underground Railroad, the American Civil War, and the Industrial Revolution. The city is unique in its status as capital city. There are less than 50,000 people living in the city of Harrisburg. However, it doubles in size Monday through Friday when the commuters arrive. It is also the smallest capital in the nation in a ratio of population between the size of the city and the size of the state, at less than 0.038%. Without my legislation, the City of Harrisburg will be forced to raise property taxes by 100%. Not only will this drive out private investments, creating more stress on the city's finance, empty buildings equals more crime and more fleeing of private investment from the city, but it is exacerbated by the city's property tax imbalance. More than 55% of the real estate in the City of Harrisburg is tax exempt, including 40% of the real estate value that is owned by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We need to reform the payment in lieu of taxes and tax-exempt policies in Pennsylvania, but that is a debate for another day. The city will continue their recovery only by private investment, by individuals and businesses moving into the city. My legislation will help the city attract private investment while avoiding raising real estate taxes or implementing a devastating commuter tax. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is a working partner to the City of Harrisburg. It has been a mutually beneficial relationship since 1812. We owe it to each other to work together to ensure a vibrant capital city for the next 200 years. Last night was a prime example of how bipartisanship can work in the City of Harrisburg when we played softball together on City Island. one of the stars of the game, my colleague who represents the city of Harrisburg, is here with me today. And I want to say I've been a long admirer of Patty Kim long before I got here, and I appreciate her allowing me to work with me on this important legislation.